Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for this one-of-a-kind version of Lancaster History's annual Valentine's Gala, an evening of history and romance. I'm Tom Ryan, President and CEO of Lancaster History.
I'm Robin Surratt, Vice President of Lancaster History.
And I'm Suzanne Woodard, the chair of this year's virtual Valentine's Gala. Over the past 17 years, the Valentine's Gala has grown from a small, intimate gathering that first occurred in the library at the Historical Society to a memorable, raucous event that has enabled us year after year to gather together with hundreds of friends in celebration of history and romance. Last year, in the early weeks of the COVID-19 outbreak, we said to ourselves how fortunate we were to have hosted the 2020 Valentine's Gala before social distancing became necessary. As our friends and colleagues around the county were forced to cancel events and shift to a virtual format, we thought we dodged a bullet, never imagining that a year later it would be our turn to find a way to reach out to you while we all remain apart. But tonight, while we wish we could be with you instead of connecting on yet another screen, we invite you to pour yourself a drink, put your feet up, and join us for this brief, stay-at-home version of Lancaster History Valentine's Gala.
Before we take a few minutes to share some recent history with you and give you a sneak peek of our future, I'd like to take this moment to thank the sponsors who've helped us find our way to you in this challenging year. These stalwart supporters make it possible for us to provide educational services, resources, and programs for Lancastrians of all ages.
These great local businesses have shown their commitment to history and education in Lancaster County year after year. We thank you deeply for your support and partnership, and we invite everyone to do the same when you're out and about in the community.
I want to give a special note of thanks to our presenting sponsor, Lancaster County Motor Subaru, whose tagline is not lost on us this evening, since love is what makes a Subaru, and love is at the heart of this event. I also want to express our deep gratitude to Mike Abel. Mike, your extraordinary artwork year after year manages to infuse moments from Lancaster's past with elements of our present, and it keeps us on our toes since we never know when we might end up in one of your illustrations.
We know that a virtual program can't replace the vibrancy and joy of being together on a dance floor, and I'm certain that we've all had our fair share of Zoom and virtual events. Still, we're delighted to have a few moments on a Saturday night in February to stake our claim that Lancaster history is alive and well and as engaged as ever in sharing America's history right here in Lancaster. And let's trust that by this time next year, we'll be shoulder to shoulder dancing the night away. And at the end of our program, we'll send you off with a look back at some highlights of the Valentine's Gala event over the years so that we can remember what we have to look forward to when we're all together again.
In the long months since last February, we've lived through extraordinary events. A global pandemic that keeps taking so many lives in its wake. A presidential election like no other. A wrenching and yet hopeful reckoning with the legacy of racial injustice in our country and in our hearts. A pendulum swing of agitation and violence striking at the core of our democracy. And while these events are front and center in this moment, we can turn our gaze back through time and find precedent and perhaps predictors. Our shared history gives us a unique lens through which to better understand the events of today, to cope with disaster, and guide us to better decisions. While our past may be inescapable, the future is ours to craft and create. Let's find a way forward, united by the conviction there is so much more that binds us together than separates us.
Over the years, the Valentine's Gala has provided the financial foundation for the resources we provide to the Lancaster community, garnering close to $1 million over those years for school programs, exhibitions, lectures, teacher resources, and much more.
Thanks to your support, and despite closing our doors to the public, our staff has remained on task as a resource and a partner for our community. When the pandemic hit, we transitioned our team from in-person public engagement work and set ourselves to the task of aggressively digitizing new collections and thousands of records and creating new learning tools, all available virtually and at no cost to the community. We created a virtual presidential library and archive and a compelling virtual field trip of Wheatland, free to the public on our website and complete with STEAM workshops and learning guides.
As we face the future, it's very clear we have much work to do as a community and as a nation. Yet I'm optimistic that we'll face the obstacles that confront and challenge us. And the reason for my optimism is this. I look around our community and I see countless people of goodwill, hard at work, building on the historical fabric of Lancaster. And that history helps make us who we are today. It's evident all around us. Just take a look, and you'll find Lancaster's history is a story of sacrifice and service for the greater good. It's in the saga of immigrants coming to Lancaster for more than 300 years to find refuge and safe harbor. It's evident in generations working together to serve the needs of our community. It's in the variety and the richness of people etched on every block in our city and our surrounding communities. And it's in our historic beginnings as a market town, the hub of a network of people providing for one another. And you can see it in the thousands of small businesses across our county. Our history is played out in the meals and in the moments we celebrate together, in the rich and varied cultural histories that nourish our souls. You see our history written in more than 3 centuries of freedom to live out your faith, and you find it in the music that makes the soundtrack of our community's life. You see it in the public spaces that we design and in the architecture that reveals where we're from and what we aspire to be. Our history is the story of this beautiful land that drew so many here and has sustained generations of Lancastrians. Yet history also depends on how the stories get told and whose voices are heard. Our history is about engaged citizens building better community for the common good. And history serves us best when we make education a priority and when we teach about the levers of democracy. It energizes us to serve our community's needs. Our history is all around us, and it's at the heart of this remarkable community.
And at Lancaster History, we're humbled by the part we play in preserving and sharing our community's rich and complex history. In the months ahead, as we all work to rise up from the events of this last year, Lancaster History will continue to support educators, parents, and students with curriculum, tools, and research help. And we will be here to provide relevant content that gives our community a broad perspective and the context in which to situate our current events.
Most crucially, Lancaster History will be seizing this moment to move forward with the development of the Thaddeus Stevens and Lydia Hamilton Smith Historic Site and Museum right in the heart of our city. A project long in the making, there has never been a moment in which turning to the legacy of Thaddeus Stevens is more relevant or more necessary than it is today. Frederick Douglass said this of Stevens: "There was in him the power of conviction, the power of will, the power of knowledge, and the power of conscious ability." Qualities, he went on to say, that at last made him more potent in Congress and in the country than even the president and the cabinet combined. And let's remember who was president: Abraham Lincoln. Stevens used that power well, abolishing slavery, guaranteeing equal protection under the law for all, and advocating for the right to vote for black men.
Lydia Smith is a powerful example of a woman in our time, and even more so of her own time. As a single parent, she raised her 2 sons and Stevens' 2 nephews, while juggling responsibilities of maintaining Stevens' residences in both Lancaster and Washington. She supported him while he was lobbying members of Congress and negotiating major national change, while she also maintained an independent life, active in both her church and her charitable efforts. One of only 3 black women property owners in Lancaster, she expanded her entrepreneurial resume as owner and operator of successful hotels in Philadelphia and Washington, and died with a considerable estate.
How is it that so few Americans today know of this extraordinary partnership? As we struggle to comprehend the legacy of race-based slavery, racial injustice, and in the 21st century, violent racism, the nation is uniquely poised to excavate from its history examples of people whose individual choices made a difference. And there are no better examples than the courageous lives and good works of Thaddeus Stevens and Lydia Hamilton Smith to speak to us in this present moment.
It's an honor to have spent time with you this evening, and with deep gratitude, we thank you all for the many ways you support Lancaster history and make it possible for us to be a leader in history education in our community. For more information on Lancaster History's programs and the ways you can support our mission, please visit our website at lancasterhistory.org.
On behalf of the team at Lancaster History, please accept a huge thank you for your partnership over the years. I hope you'll stick around at the conclusion of this program for a look back at some of the joyful moments of Valentine's Gala's past.
We look forward to staying in touch with you in the weeks and the months ahead. Each of us, you and I, have a responsibility to leave future generations trustworthy accounts of our time here, so they too can learn from the lessons of the past, both the good and the bad. In our introductory film for visitors to President Buchanan's Wheatland, we end the film with the statement that although Mr. Buchanan's presidency was in large measure a failed presidency, there's an awful lot we can learn from it. We all have our successes and our failures in life, in our personal lives, and in our efforts to live peaceably with others. Let's learn what we can from our past and leave this place better than we found it. Thank you, and here's to enjoying the rest of your evening of history and romance.
Life's about forgiving or forgetting the past. Yeah, doing all you gotta do in this life to make things last. Oh, life's about knowing when not to give in, growing from all the experience of life within. I see you there, thinking about your past, but don't you know you're gonna find love will last. Oh, life's about forgiving, so don't ever give up. Well, life is about living and living to love. Forgiving, so don't ever give